The Mystara project is proud to present Part 5 of the Characters of Mystara series. In this episode we take a look at an opportunistic predator, Abdul. Abdul was introduced in the 1985 module, X10, Red Arrow, Black Shield, on page 30. This module is set in the year AC 1200, 200 years into the future from the current year. At that time, Abdul is a vampire with the abilities of a 9th level fighter. Abdul has come to Ser Ulan due to the presence of the master of Hulay's army there. Not because he had any affinity for the master, or his war, but because he believed armies bring an easy source of victims to feed on. Abdul and his 3 beautiful vampire wives, who are the equivalent of 7th level fighters, occupy a large, elegant tent, expensively furnished, on the outskirts of the city. The tent caught the eye of a burglar, who, needless to say, was unsuccessful. The burglar's rope of climbing and boots of levitation were then added to the vampire's treasures in their coffins, hidden behind a curtain. Abdul wears a medallion of ESP with a 90-foot radius. He uses it to hear thoughts of people passing near his tent, in order to formulate conversational hooks to lure them inside. He knows about Ser Ulan, its guard routines, and how to get through the inner city gate into the master of Hulay's compound. He also possesses the Skull of Prophecy, which was specially enchanted from the skull of a powerful cleric. It functions like a commune spell, answering 3 yes or no questions per week. Abdul represents a formidable foe for opponents without a cleric of at least 6th level. His armor class of 2 is reasonable for expert-level opponents. His ability to fly enables him to move about quickly, provided there is no running water to cross without a bridge. His touch attack is deadly to characters below 3rd level, and his gaze can charm those that meet it if they fail a save versus spells with a -2 penalty. His morale is almost fanatical, given there are limited ways he can be permanently destroyed. He has average intelligence and is of chaotic alignment, uncaring of the laws of the living. As a tall, handsome, charming man, Abdul has 3 vampire wives. They adore jewelry, and collectively wear 30 jewels worth 18,000 GP in total. That is the extent of the information that we are given about Abdul. We shall now attempt to extrapolate this information to find out more about our vampiric subject. As a vampire, Abdul's age is difficult to determine. He could be as ancient as when the first human vampires appeared on Mystara, before BC 4000, or he could be a relatively new vampire, born as late as say 1170 AC. His name and location suggest he could be of Urduk ancestry, hailing from the Great Waste region. That would mean that Urduk would be his native tongue. In Module X10, Abdul is able to speak the player character's common tongue, which could be considered to be Thyacian. To become a vampire, Abdul was more than likely slain by a vampire. Does this vampire master still exist, making Abdul a pawn? Who could have been his slayer? The vampires of Glantry could be responsible, however they are somewhat isolated from the Great Waste. Aside from Abdul and his 3 wives, there is one other known vampire in the Great Waste region. In the Evil Abbey's crypt, far to the west of Ser Ulan, an unnamed fighter level 7 vampire has been defeated with a wooden stake through its heart. Abdul has the maximum 9 hit dice for a standard vampire, which suggests he was at least 9th level when we was slain. Was he an Urduk warrior? What does Abdul do with his victims? Does he control more vampires than just his 3 wives? He has been slaying Hulayan troops and at least 1 burglar. Are they now vampires under his control, or does he destroy them when they rise? We shall now look at how Abdul could be used in a campaign. In Module X10, Abdul's role is to lull the adventurers into a false sense of security and then attack and feed on them with his wives. The adventuring party is recommended to be between 10th and 14th level, inclusive, so they probably have a cleric capable of dealing with the vampires. Additionally, the vampires appear to have only 1 coffin each and they are not well concealed. So, Abdul's permanent destruction is a likely outcome of this scenario. Abdul could be used in a similar way to X10 in the Immortals Fury campaign, after Hulay's army occupies Ser Ulan in the winter of AC 1004. After the Hulayan siege of Darakin City is broken in the spring of AC 1006, the player characters could press on into Sind and encounter Abdul as they assault the Master's base in Ser Ulan. In Module X4, Master of the Desert Nomads, Abdul could be part of the Hulayan army camp on the Plain of Fire that the adventurers stumble across in the enemy on the march encounter. The adventurers could be requested by a church or an important cleric to retrieve the Skull of Prophecy, for proper burial. The powerful cleric, whose skull is to be retrieved, could have been a high priest in Akesali, a Rishia of Himayeti in Sind, a cleric of Himayeti among the Urduk tribes, or an adventurer from more distant lands. The adventurers must retrace the last known steps of the powerful cleric, visit the foul place where the skull was enchanted, and finally follow clues leading them to its owner, Abdul. This concludes our look at the tall, handsome, deadly vampire, Abdul.